This is the Roger Orosco Show.
Welcome to Citizens on Political Patrol.
Hey Roger, how you doing?
Hey man, what's up?
Hey, I've been seeing a lot of political signs come up in our town of Selma here. Can you please go over the three boards, who's running, and the incumbents?
All right. Here's the lowdown. Starting with the City Council, it's a 5-member board. We got Mayor Avalos. We got Mayor Pro Temp Robertson. We got Mrs. Montillo, Mr. Franco, and Mr. Durr. There's 2 seats up. Mrs. Montillo and Mr. Durr have decided not to run, not to defend their seats. So now we got 6 people fighting for those 2 seats. We got Mike Cheeser Munoz. We got a Joe Fedor. We got Mrs. Sarah Guerra, Mrs. Solis, John Trillo, and a Rosemary Lanis. Maybe a little bit more interesting than others might be that Mrs. Guerra is the sister-in-law of Councilman Robertson. You know, it is what it is, but I thought that should be pointed out. And we have the Health Board. This is very fascinating. It's a 5-member board. There's 3 seats up. The 5 members right now is Board President Mrs. Robertson. We got a Mrs. Avalos, Mrs. Gallardo, Dr. Stanley Louie, and Mrs. Esquivel. Now there's 3 seats up, and Mrs. Esquivel and Mrs. Gallardo are trying to defend their seats. So those 2 seats are up, but we still have, we got Mr. Herrera, and you got Mr. Montillo and Mrs. Nelson trying to get into the board too, trying to take one or two of those seats. So interesting. What's really interesting is Mr. Montillo and Mrs. Nelson were already on that board, and they're trying to come back to this board. Mrs. Gallardo is the treasurer of the board, but also she's the sister of board president Mrs. Robertson. Mrs. Robertson happens to be the wife of City Councilman Scott Robertson. And then you have Mrs. Avalos on the health board, who's the wife of, well, the mayor of our city, Jim Avalos. So I think that's all very interesting. I'm not saying anything bad. It's just, it is what it is, but people need to know that. Going into the school board, the school board's a little bit different. It breaks into 5 districts. There's 3 districts that are up. We'll start backwards with District 5, which is Sarah Rodriguez. She is not running this year. So you have, Anne-Marie Summers and a Diane Jensen fighting for that seat. District number 4, which is School Board President Jennifer Winter's area. Well, no one signed up, so it's Jennifer she did. So she's just going to walk right in, and, well, it is what it is. And District 3, which is Mr. Montillo's, who decided to leave and try to get on the health board. Now, his wife, which is the councilwoman, Mrs. Montillo, she is running in District 3 for the school board, along with Mrs. Paredes. I don't know that name. But anyway, and myself. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. Hopefully it doesn't get too nasty. Hopefully everybody can just go with what's happening, and should be a fun election, man. But that's the lowdown on the basics of everybody that's running. Anyway, thanks for asking those questions. And thanks for everybody for watching the Roger Orosco Show, and more to come from Citizens on Political Patrol.
Thank you.
You're welcome, man.